Hi, I'm Steve, and I'm sitting here talking to Pete Alwinson, who has a brand new book, Like Father, Like Son. Pete, that's a book for men primarily. Men are really screwed up, aren't they?
That's great. That's a good way of putting it. We fake like we got it together, but we
That's
don't a
true.
lot of
That's
times.
true.
Yeah, men are struggling. There's about 175 million men in America. 38 million of them claim to be Christians, but of all sorts. But when I talk to guys and I say, how many of you guys have been intentionally developed by your dads? One, maybe 2 out of 10.
Oh, man.
And so we have a large group of guys in America. It's a largely unfathered generation. A lot of guys are they don't know what it means to be a man, and they're struggling, and they're trying everything, and they're getting exhausted.
You know, this is a hard time to be a man. It really is. When I was growing up, it was easier. The script was clear, what was expected. But as you said, there's so much confusion. Tell me about your book. Are you going to give me 10 things I can do that will help the three steps to becoming a real man? What are you talking about in this book?
That's good. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed in you, and I'm not going to say these are the 3 things you got to do to become a man. The subtitle really helps put it together, like Father, like Son. How knowing God as Father shapes men. Because the reality is, in our earthly experience, the father is the 1,000-pound gorilla in a man's life, right?
Yeah.
And you had an interesting father experience, a good father experience. Some of the rest of us didn't have as good an earthly father experience. But the great news is that because of the gospel, God becomes our Father. Look how Jesus taught us to pray. Our Father. Abba, Daddy. It's an intimate term. And a man, so I say to guys that had a bad earthly father experience, I say, if you just get to know God the Father, and Jesus leverages us into that relationship. If you get to know God the Father, it'll make all the difference in your life. Even if you had a good earthly father experience, or even if you had a bad one, you have God the Father.
Oh, man.
And so it's not going to be 3 steps. It's going to be knowing more about who God is and how God as Father just pushes us. Grace leverages us into a deeper life to become, and this I think is important, the men that God designed us to be, but also the men we want to be, as well as the men that women, children, churches, and our culture need us to be.
Yeah.
And it's not the 3 or 4 steps. It's what naturally happens as the gospel pulls us into a relationship with the Father.
I'm so glad you wrote this book. And you guys who are watching this, get it. This is an important book for your life. Like Father, like Son.